Senate may move soon on Uyghur human rights bill. The Senate may move, as soon as this week, to advance a bill to sanction Chinese government officials responsible for forced labor camps in Xinjiang, where up to 2 million ethnic Muslims have been forcibly detained, a source familiar with the matter told CNN on Wednesday, in the latest congressional move to strengthen the U.S. stance toward China. The legislation, which is still being finalized, condemns the Chinese Communist Party for the camps and recommends a tougher response to the human rights abuses suffered by Uyghurs, ethnic Kazakhs and other Muslim minorities in the region. The bill would also require the State Department to assemble a report on human rights violations in Xinjiang. The State Department currently details the abuses in its annual Human Rights and International Religious Freedom reports. Members of the House overwhelmingly passed an amended version of the bill last December, with a vote of 407-1. Senate action on the legislation is certain to invoke Beijing's ire. The Chinese government reacted with fury to the House version, with Foreign Ministry spokesman Hua Chunying saying it wantonly smeared what China claims are counter-terrorism efforts. Senators had hoped to approve the legislation by the end of 2019, but Republicans took issue with some of the provisions the House added to the measure. The matter was also put on hold during impeachment proceedings. The House will have to vote again on the issue once the Senate passes its version, sponsored by Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida. In floor remarks last week, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell connected the Senate's movement on the legislation to the coronavirus pandemic, saying that the United States is going to be asking tough questions about our relationship with the Chinese Communist Party. The Kentucky Republican added that he expects the Senate will soon pass the Uyghur human rights bill, bringing more attention to the plight of this mistreated minority. Timing is still in flux. The bill is expected to pass under unanimous consent, a process used for expedited passage of uncontroversial legislation. The action comes as the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is set to advance another bill that is seen as a rebuke to the Chinese government on Thursday. The Tibetan Policy and Support Act, introduced by Sens. Marco Rubio and Ben Cardin, would make it U.S. policy that the succession of Tibetan Buddhist leaders, including a future 15th Dalai Lama, be left solely to the Tibetan Buddhist community, without interference from the Chinese government. Once it has been approved in committee, the measure will be able to go to the full floor for consideration. Under the legislation, if Chinese officials interfere in the process of selecting Tibetan Buddhist leaders, they would be subject to sanctions under the Global Magnitsky Act, including denial of entry into the United States. The measure also calls for the creation of a new U.S. consulate in Lhasa, the capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region. Lawmakers in the House approved a similar bill in January. There are some small differences between the House and Senate measures, so the House will have to vote on the Senate bill once it is passed before it can become law. CNN's Jennifer Hansler contributed to this report. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.